Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to my Sunday. It is Sunday. I never know what day it is, do I? My Sunday live news stream. Where I've just picked some articles that have just caught my eye, and we're going to have a look at them. So that's what we're going to do now. Right, so before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. We're live, just let me check, we're live on YouTube. Yes, we are. We're live on Rumble. I've always got to refresh this page. It does me head in. We're live on Rumble. Yes, we are. And we should be live on Twitch as well. Yes, we're live on Twitch as well. So let me share this bugger. You can't share it until it actually starts. So I've got to share it. Then that's that one shared. Right. Oh, never mind. Whatever. I'd closed the wrong window because I'm an idiot. There we go. Go back on it. There we go. Right. What else were there? What else were I going to say? I can't remember. Well, later on, I'll upload it to Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. I've also got a Patreon page. There we go. There's my Patreon banner. I've only one patron so far. I keep adding content. I haven't done anything this week. I was going to do something today, and then I couldn't be bothered. So that's how much I think of my bloody Patreon page. But Patreon's changed everything, haven't they? They've kind of updated the website, and they've got a new logo, which is bloody awful. Can you see it? Oh, there. You see it there. It looks like a just blob in it. Anyway, but I'll put something else up there. I'll be doing a not what they call it, magical monochrome for Tuesday. I'll pick a film for that, and we'll watch that. Right. So, what else? I'm also on Facebook, X, and Twitter. Links are in the description for that. Hang on, I'm just moving stuff. As are the links for me 2 books. Silent Predator, a short horror novella about big cats eating people in North Yorkshire. You know what? I can't actually remember what happens. It's not long since I've written these books. I forgot what happens in them. And Mercury Rapids, a light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs and stuff. Right. Now, let's get on with the news. Make myself teachy tiny. Is that it? Is that all I've got to say? I think that's all I've got to say, isn't it? Right, so we'll get on with the news. I'll make myself teachy tiny. Down there in the corner. There I am. With the Milky Way behind me. Hope I don't see any ghosts tonight. My Friday night appointment with Thea. I got the willies because I saw something over there. And hopefully it won't happen tonight. But you never know. I did a video on it. A short, if you want to check my channel. Right, let's get this news up. Where are you? There, F11. Right, first off, from Deadline. By the way, all the links are in the description down below. And later on, I'll put timestamps in them. So you can swap about and go to different parts of the video instantly. But that'll be later on, obviously. Right, here we go. Blade Runner chops Northern Ireland filming plans. Amazon will return funding money. And I thought, what they're talking about? And it turns out there's going to be a Blade Runner TV series, which I didn't even know about. I say that, I've probably done a video about it at some point, but, you know, if I have, I've forgotten. Right, Blade Runner is the latest big-budget product to announce changes to its shooting schedule this year, with the TV series no longer set to be filmed in Northern Ireland. The BBC reports that the series, titled Blade Runner 2099, commissioned by streamer Amazon Video, with original film director Ridley Scott on board as an executive producer, was due to be filmed on location in Belfast, based out of Belfast Harbour Studios. Filming on the series was previously delayed due to the actors and writers' strike. While the reason for the change remains unclear, the chief executive of Northern Ireland Screen, Richard Williams, has expressed his disappointment in a statement. Quote, "We are conscious that these difficult decisions do happen in the screen industry, particularly with the most expensive projects which carry the greatest expectations." This obviously leaves a gap in Northern Ireland's production schedule, and Northern Ireland Screen will do everything it can to plug that gap as quickly as possible, mindful that many freelance crew and supply chain companies were relying on this project for work. Well, they'll have to find somebody else now, won't they? Anyway, the BBC reports that Northern Ireland Screen had given the production £4.1 million in screen funding, money which will now be returned. The series was planned as a 10-parter following on from events of the films. Harrison Ford starred in the original 1982 film. While the first film enjoyed a meagre initial box office, it enjoyed long-running cult status with sci-fi fans, and the sequel, Blade Runner 2049, which is a yawn fest. It looks nice, but it's boring. Co-starring Ford and Ryan Gosling made $267 million on its release in 2017, which I don't think is particularly good. It probably lost money, to be completely honest. But there we go. So they're not filming in Northern Ireland anymore. So where they're going to be filming, no idea. No idea. I didn't even know it were a thing. But there we go. Blade Runner 2099 is coming from somewhere. Right, we'll move on. One Piece next. One Piece. This is from Bounding Into Comics, so could get spicy. Right, here we go. And there's I forgot a name. Never mind. I've watched One Piece. You know, it was fine. It wasn't my cup of tea. I know people love it, but it's not my thing. It was okay. I watched it all. I started watching it. I think I got up to episode 4, and then I give up on it. I thought, oh, it's not for me. But then I went back and I finished watching it, and it's okay. But it's not really for me. But I do know that people love it, and I appreciate that people do love it, and that it is close, apparently, to the original manga and anime and all that. And it's faithful. But anyway, Netflix's One Piece co-showrunner reaffirms commitment to respecting source material. If you're adapting something that you legitimately love, fight for what it needs to be. Right, in providing even further evidence that the beloved franchise is in capable, if not outright good hands, Netflix's One Piece co-showrunner Matt Owens has declared that even as the series approaches some of its more outrageous and fantastical parts of, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ichiro Oda's seminal tale, source material accuracy remains one of his highest priorities. The thing that put me off, because this is the thing that puts me off with a lot of Japanese stuff. Love Japan, love the Japanese people, love their art and all that, but it's not for me. Is like they've got to shout out their finishing moves with these like gum pistol. And I thought, what's all this about? Kind of puts me off. It's a bit like Johnny Storm going flame on. He doesn't have to say that, does he? But anyway. Right, Owen spoke to this important aspect of the Straw Hat Pirates live-action victory while participating in the public Ask Me Anything session on the television subreddit, providing his first insight into his dedication to source material accuracy in response to Peach Lord. Asked by the user, in One Piece, we'll often say goodbye to characters and not see them again for 100, 200 or more chapters. Do you plan to create original material to give characters like Kobe, Buggy, Ace, or Garp stuff to do in the seasons they otherwise wouldn't appear in? Owens affirmed that the series production crew was not looking to necessarily make stuff up. They were still open to boosting screen time for certain characters, but only if it was done in accordance with Oda's own supplemental materials. There are a lot of characters who people love, and we won't necessarily see them in the main story all the time, he explained. If there are cover stories, canon tales told by Oda in single panel entries across the cover pages of multiple chapters, no idea what they're talking about, or side stories that include these characters, they are definitely up for consideration. And that's is that from, I think, yes, from One Piece chapter 296. I have no idea what's going on. No idea. Further pressed on the possibility of his potentially deviating from the original manga by that person, who inquired, with the production time on this show being so long, production on every show is super long these days, and streamers generally cancelling everything after 3 seasons, how long do you see the show going, and would drastically cut material from the source material if Netflix came to you and said they'll do one final season? Owens once again made it adamantly clear, you know how in the end of the Koei Tecmo developed video game One Piece Pirates Warriors 3, I thought they throw a bunch of Yonko stuff into Dressrosa. I've no idea what they're talking about. And the final levels of the game, my intention is never to do that. Okay, fair enough. Don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to rush things or create a false ending of the show, said the showrunner. When we know we are coming to an end, I hope to appropriately finish the story where we are and hope that people will pick up the anime or the manga to continue the journey. Turning to discuss Owen's personal production philosophy in a more general sense, Zagonzo then asked the showrunner, how important is it for the people involved with an adaptation to be fans of the original material? Do you think being a fan makes some decisions harder? Is it absolutely necessary? No, he replied. Is it incredibly helpful? Yes. Take note, Paramount, TBS, Kurtzman, get some Star Trek fans in as writers. You know, like Terry Metalis, for instance. Being a fan of something means you understand it on a deeper level. You love and study it. As a creator, my fandom helps me identify what is important for the story because I know it, but also what is important to fans because I am one. I often ask myself, if I weren't working on this show, how would this potential change make me feel as a fan? Owens added. I wouldn't say it made the job harder. It gave me a good position to fight for things that I believed in. And they keep showing us One Piece art, which is very nice art. As I said, it's manga. Not my thing. Not my thing. Eventually, this person would ask Owens, in light of his success in adapting One Piece, what advice would you give to showrunners of future adaptations of beloved manga or comics? To which he would assert in reply, my advice would be to fight for what you believe in. If you're adapting something that you legitimately love, fight for what it needs to be, the showrunner opined. Stay as true as possible while also understanding that you're not the only voice and you may not always win, but your fandom and knowledge are powerful weapons. To this end, Owens would also reassure viewers that though it was not covered in the first season where it chronologically would have, should the live action series strictly adhere to the manga's original timeline, he and his team had every intention of tackling the Logue Town arc. Whatever that is. God, how long's this article gone for? We're nearly done. I think we're nearly done. Met with somebody else's question, are there plans to do Logue Town or will it be skipped? The showrunner exclaimed, skipped? Never. It wasn't included in season 1 because our episode number got reduced, he detailed, and to try to cram it in would not have done service to it or the story. It had to share space with. Logue Town is not cut. We just haven't got there yet. I am going to be king of the pirates. Look, he's shouting. Look, that's obviously, what's his face? I can't even remember his bloody name. That's how much of an impact One Piece had on me. There we go, Luffy. Production on the second season of Netflix's live-action One Piece is currently underway, with Owens having previously confirmed that its writers' room is up and running following the conclusion of the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike. There we go. As I said, the series for me, it was okay. I mildly enjoyed it, but bits of it got on my nerves. You know, the bits that were probably close to what you'd see in the anime. I'm not a massive fan of anime and Japanese stuff, in general. I find I'm probably digging a hole for myself, but I find that their way of storytelling, it doesn't translate the same or translate well, and quite often it comes across as goofy, in my opinion, and quite often naive. Quite often naive. They usually just have love saved the day. It's not that simple usually, is it? But that's what generally happens, or something along them lines. which is nice, but not realistic. Right. Anyway, so there we go. So One Piece, it's going to carry on being true to the manga and the anime, which is good. Fair enough. Fair enough. But it wasn't my thing. If it was your thing, cool. If you liked it, if you loved it, I'm super happy for you, but it wasn't for me. But I didn't hate it. Right, let's move on. Bit of Star Trek. Here we go. This is interesting. This is it. I've not read the article. I've just read the headline. You know what I'm like. Bone idle. Right, Terry Farrell says Spock's death is the key to Jadzia Dax's Star Trek return. What could she mean by that? Obviously, Dax returned in the form of Ezri Dax. How could Jadzia return? Don't know. At the end of season 6, Deep Space Nine, she got murdered by Gul Dukat, who was possessed by the Par Wraith, wasn't he? So Jadzia's body died, and the symbiont inside her was passed on to Ezri. But anyway. Right, so let's see what she says. One can't blame Terry Farrell. By the way, she's astonishingly gorgeous. And by the way, if you watch Deep Space Nine, it probably wasn't noticeable if you watched it originally and, week to week. But if you binge it, you'll notice that her spots are always changing. Obviously, they couldn't replicate the exact pattern every time. So her spots did change. Right, one can't blame Terry Farrell for wanting another crack at getting Jadzia Dax's storyline just right, and she told fans at the 56-year Mission Star Trek convention in 2022 she's all for stepping in to Jadzia's uniform one more time to correct what the show once put wrong, and what the franchise did with Spock, Leonard Nimoy, provides the character with a plum opportunity to do so. So it's on about like the Genesis device, so the Genesis effect brought Spock back to life, didn't it? Is that what she's talking about? I don't know. We will find out. Jadzia's death was a heartbreaker when it took place during the 6th season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It saw the character die painfully right before viewers' eyes. But as long as Farrell lives, it's a plot choice that can be amended. In an August 2022 appearance at 56-year Mission via Trek Movie, Farrell declared that she's all for Jadzia's resurrection, even if it seems impossible. I was actually thinking about how Spock died. Didn't he melt, basically? Well, sort of. I don't know. We don't know. We don't actually know what happened to his body. We just saw him die. But he suffered huge radiation poisoning, didn't he? Repairing the ship, the Enterprise. He saved everyone's life, and then he just came back, and there he was. Say, well, regenerated by the Genesis effect on the Genesis planet, wasn't it? His cells were reconstituted, I suppose. And Kirk kind of went, oh, there he is. Oh, and luckily, because he was aging rapidly, obviously he started out as a baby or whatever, and he aged rapidly in waves as the Genesis planet aged. And luckily, they got him off the planet just as he were at the exact age that Leonard Nimoy was. Anyway. And Kirk kind of went, oh, there he is. And everyone nodded and said, yes, he's back. I want that moment for me. Exactly how you bring her back is no big effing deal, she said. There's definitely precedence for this happening for Star Trek characters that aren't Spock, adding extra credence to Farrell's request. Well, it said there's loads of different ways. There were a mirror Dax, wasn't there, from the mirror universe, and but I don't think that. Well, it wasn't a Dax. I don't think it was a Dax, was it? It was just a Jadzia, wasn't it? I don't think it had the Dax symbiont. And there's other ways, other multiverse ways, or cloning, or changelings. There's a million ways in Star Trek, isn't there? Farrell added that she had retired from acting to raise her son in 2002, but now that he's in college, she's looking to jump back into the Hollywood game after the strike, I presume. I got to do my new 8x10, as in a picture. I'm very excited. This is my life now. I reconnected with my manager, and we'll see what happens. And there she is. Where's the spots? Is she playing somebody else there? Something, is this, unless they're just faint and they can't make them out. Can't see her spots. Can't remember that episode. Anyway, Star Trek fans have long lobbied for Jadzia Dax to... If Winggrace were watching, he'd be able to tell me. But he's often busy on Sundays, apparently. Star Trek fans... Is that a Game of Thrones Star Trek crossover? Star Trek fans have long lobbied for Jadzia Dax to return after her abrupt death. The character's fate was a move that resulted from contractual and internal conflicts on the show. Farrell and Rick Berman, executive producer on Deep Space Nine, often came into conflict, with Farrell alleging that Berman made misogynistic comments towards her on the show's set. According to the book, The 50-Year Mission, The Next 25 Years by Mark A. Altman and Edward Gross, Farrell asked for fewer hours for Season 7 of Deep Space Nine and claimed Berman and Paramount tried to strong-arm her into signing to do the usual number of episodes. She was ultimately released from her contract, an event she blames Berman for, and something he has categorically denied having a hand in. Farrell would go on to act in Becca for 4 of its 6 seasons before that show released her. So it shows maybe she's hard to work with if that show released her. Anyway, maybe she just gets bored after a while and starts kicking off. Jadzia's host body is killed off during the episode Tears of the Prophets, only for her symbiont to be reborn, moved, into the body of fellow Trill, Ezri Dax. It was like an emergency. The symbiont sort of like started to deteriorate on the way back to Trill, and I think Ezri were the only Trill on the ship that were taking it, and they had to put the symbiont in. Anyway, and it would, I think that would go on to have some good Trill episodes about that, because Trill, the government or whatever on Trill, were often saying that people that carried symbionts, there were only so many symbionts to go around, and it was a tough job to be selected to become a host, and so they were saying that only a small number of Trill were capable of hosting symbionts, but with Ezri Dax. With Ezri's plight, we learned that pretty much nearly all Trill could host symbionts, but that's by the by. Right, anyway, whatever. Right, so during the following season, Ezri would subsequently become an important character despite fan complaints. Yes, she would. And I liked Ezri. I thought she was fine. I liked Nicole de Burr. I liked her when she was in another series, and I forgot what it was called. Another sci-fi one. I used to watch it on Sci-Fi Channel when it used to be called Sci-Fi Channel. I forgot what it was called. Something like, there was a similar series, a similar title series that came out afterwards, and I forgot what it was called. It's like Renegades or something like that. I can't remember. She was in that. It's pretty good. Anyway, naturally, this wasn't a good enough explanation. I think she's in Cube as well, isn't she? That film Cube. Naturally, this wasn't a good enough explanation for fans who had come to love Jadzia over the years. Her departure has long been a contentious sticking point for lovers of Deep Space Nine. It's a point of view Farrell has come to agree with, and she noted during a question and answer session at 56-Year Mission that Jadzia's ignominious death is just one more reason for her to return. There's Spock. I have been and always shall be your friend. No. While some deaths in the Star Trek universe have become permanent thanks to the passing of several of the franchise's actors, other important character deaths have been undone or changed over the course of further TV shows and films. Beyond Spock's death in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, by the way, we all say the Wrath of Khan now, don't we? But the English pronunciation is supposed to be Wrath, but we all say Wrath. I've always said Wrath, but anyway, whatever. A subsequent return to the Starship Enterprise in Star Trek III: The Search for Spock. Your name is Jam. Brent Spiner's data dies during Star Trek Nemesis. Essentially, he blows up, doesn't he? He doesn't die. It just blows up on the scimitar. a decision made mostly due to Data's agelessness as an android and Spiner's humanity, and in the hope of giving the film a strong ending, the actor was brought back numerous times to play characters related to Data. Yeah, all the Zooms were all identical. There must have been clones or something. They're all identical. They all look like Brent Spiner. Good job they didn't have any girl ones, lady Zooms. Bloody Brent Spiner in drag. Anyway, Data across several Star Trek properties before Data himself is resurrected for good in an aged body during Star Trek Picard season 3. Season 3, which was fine. I enjoyed Star Trek Picard season 3, by far the best. It wasn't as perfect as everybody made it out to be. There were some problems with it, but it was pretty good. Even the most rock solid of deaths are being reconsidered with time, with Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner. Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner dies during Star Trek Generations, a passing that has thus far remained sacrosanct. But season 3 of Star Trek Picard strongly hints that Kirk's body, which had been removed when Picard, Sir Patrick Stewart, and the rest of his crew were evacuated from Veridian 3, forced to jar Veridian, may have been used in a cloning experiment. It goes to show that in the world of Star Trek, death is anything but a permanent condition. And don't forget, William Shatner himself brought Kirk back in his books that he co-wrote. Anyway, whatever. So there we go. So Terry Farrell wants to come back as Jadzia, and I hope they bring her back in some way, and not a ridiculous way. I hope it's, a way that kind of makes sense, or that can be explained, and you're like, that's interesting, rather than, eh? But I hope they do, because it'd be nice to see her, because she's gorgeous, and I think she still is now, even though she's, I think she's the same age as me, I think. Have we seen an age of her in here somewhere? I don't know. Let me check. I need to know now. Let's see if I've got a chance. Terry Farrell. American actress and fashion model. She's older than me. She's 59. She's 59. Oh, yes, she's married. Oh, no, she's not anymore. She's not married to Adam Nimoy anymore. So maybe I've got a chance. That 1 in a million chance that Lloyd Christmas had. Right, so let's move on. Enough of my dreams of shacking up with Terry Farrell. I'll be a toy boy, a kept man. Right, Star Wars. Right, here we go. Star Wars Skeleton Crew new plot details reportedly revealed. The series has previously been described as a coming-of-age ambling adventure. Something like Goonies, is that what they're saying? Now that the first season of Ahsoka, which I don't particularly like, I don't hate it, but I don't particularly like it. I covered it in Goonies in my short-lived The Monday Moan series, where I looked at films that I hated. And Goonies was one of them. It may have been the first, I can't actually remember. Right, now that the first season of Ahsoka has now been released in its entirety, and it was pretty pointless and, drab. Got off to a good start. I enjoyed the first 2 episodes, but after that, it kind of trailed off and got a bit pooed, didn't it? The next thing up for Lucasfilm's Star Wars brand is Skeleton Crew. The series was initially pitched as a series tonally similar to films like The Goonies, oh, there we go, or Stand By Me. They're going to go look for a body, are they, on a train track. But set in a galaxy far, far away, drinking game. Done this for a while, have I? There we go. A notion now confirmed by the studio's first copyright filing. According to the filing, a group of 4 kids make a discovery. Oh, a dead body. That's both strange and dangerous, and that effectively serves as the crux of the series. In the first episode of the Skeleton Crew, we are introduced to 4 kids who make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet and get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy, the new synopsis reads. Finding their way home, meeting unlikely allies and enemies, will be a great adventure than they ever imagined. They've not had a great track record, have they, to be honest, Lucasfilm with their Disney Plus series, but, we'll all give it a shot, won't we? And then we'll be disappointed by the end. And there's the tweet about it. They see Jude Law, proper wooden. Right, the filing also confirms John Watts directed the pilot episode. That name rings a bell. What has he? What else has he done? It does ring a bell. Is he Spider-Man? Did he do Spider-Man? Homecoming. Is that John Watts? Oh, pardon me. Burping. Yes, he did. He did the Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home. No, wait. I knew the name rung a bell. The filing also confirms John Watts directed the pilot episode. By the way, burping because I'm drinking Coca-Cola Zero. What's the difference between Coke Zero and Diet Coke? I've not read the ingredients. I just want to know the difference. Different cans, apparently. With the primary cast members being Jude Law, proper wooden, Ryan Keira Armstrong. Is that a boy, a man, a male, a female? I've no idea. It's got both names. Like Keira's a girl's name, isn't it? Is it? Sounds like one. Who cares these days? In Star Trek, we've got a girl called Michael. Robert, men can be called girls. You can have men called Shirley, can't you? And Marion. Robert Timothy Smith, whatever. Ravi Conyers, Kiriana Crater. Never heard of any of them, apart from Jude Law, proper wooden. Its expected skeleton crew will take place in the same part of the timeline as Lucasfilm's other Star Wars shows on Disney+, with the Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau previously suggesting the characters from the series popping up in other projects around the same time. To have this young, ambling feeling movie with young people who grew up in the Star Wars world and are exposed to adventure, Favreau shared of skeleton crew during a conversation for Entertainment Weekly earlier this year. The puppets, the costumes, the visuals, the world that's being expanded upon, and now I get to write the next season of Mandalorian with all these new characters and new locations and new creatures. And there's this cohesive group of stories that are being told thanks to all these filmmakers that are contributing. It'll just make it more convoluted and complicated for him. It'll be rubbish. I bet it is. I bet it's rubbish. But obviously, they're mentioning Amblin because Kathleen Kennedy were a big part of Amblin, wasn't she? Anyway, Star Wars Skeleton Crew is expected to premiere on Disney Plus at a later date. If you haven't checked out blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah. This is not a sponsored post, but if you purchase one of the awesome products featured above, you may earn a small commission. So, anyway, there we go. So it's going to be like the Goonies or Stand By Me or both with an ambling feel. It'll be rubbish. Bet it is. It'll start off good. I bet the first episode's pretty decent because it's new and we're wondering what's going on. And then it'll just get poo. It will. And things will happen that you think, well, why did that happen? That makes no sense. It's just things will just happen for no reason because the plot needs them to happen. That's what generally happens in Disney Star Wars. Moaning. I'm moaning. We're firing through these tonight, aren't we? Right, back to Star Trek. With a bit of a Halloween bent, because we had this Spooktober, remember? By the way, I've got a ghost video at the end, which is quite long. I don't know if I'm going to play it all, or I might just skip to the end. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, a spooky Star Trek story, but not Star Trek adjacent. Right, here we go. A Star Trek legend lived in haunted house with groaning ghost who chucked books around. Star Trek icon Sir Patrick Stewart has revealed he lived in the haunted house in Los Angeles, home to a ghost who groaned and threw books around the home. And there he is, looking smug. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest, anymore of Patrick Stewart. I used to be, but it kind of annoys me a bit now. Sorry. Maybe it's just his age and he just says silly things. Right, Star Trek legend Patrick Stewart has revealed he lived in a haunted house with a ghost that, by the way, there's another story about Patrick Stewart saying things coming up. With a ghost that chucked books and groaned. The actor, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, in the hit sci-fi series, said odd things happened after he bought the property in Los Angeles when he was filming The Next Generation. Sir Patrick, 83, said, returning home one evening, I opened the door to the master bedroom and immediately my nostrils filled with the smell of something roasting in the kitchen one floor down. I thought that I must have left the oven on when I went to bed the night before, so I hurried down the stairs to the kitchen, where the smell was even stronger. Yet the stove was not even turned on, and the oven was cold and empty. Sounded more like Tom Baker, didn't it, than Sir Pat. Things took a scarier turn when his actor son Daniel came to stay, and he came home to find him clearly freaked out. Patrick continued. I won't do the impression anymore. He led me down into the living room where the floor. I kind of did it accidentally then, didn't I? Where the floor was scattered with books that had obviously come from the shelves lining the wall. Dan told me he had been watching TV when the book suddenly flew across the room as if thrown with great force. The incident scared him so badly that he left the house and returned only when he knew I would soon be home. He would never again spend a night in the house alone. That happened to my sister. Well, not to me, in my sister's house, which is actually just up the street from here. A family friend, stayed the night. You know you are if you're watching. A family friend stayed the night and apparently woke up in the middle of the night with weird noises going on and the curtains flapping up and down, and it was freezing cold. And I don't think he stayed again after that. And other things have been seen in that house as well, up the street. My other sister used to live across the road, and she once looking across at my sister's house, and she saw a figure standing in the window, and she knew for a fact that there was nobody in at that time. So, as I said, I think that house was haunted, as this one is. If a ghost going to appear behind me on camera. But don't scare me. Don't scare me. Anyway, where were we? Then the noises began, the sound of voices coming from a room that was empty, the sound of footsteps on the stairs when nobody was using them. We used to hear footsteps. We also used to put it down to the neighbours. I always thought, it's the neighbours walking about, and we could just hear them. Then the neighbours moved out, and we could still hear footsteps moving about. But anyway. Every night as I crossed the first floor hall to go upstairs to the bedroom floor, at a point just before the first step, the temperature of the space abruptly turned icy. As soon as I put my foot on the first step, it went back to normal. I had an urge to look over my shoulder, but I never dared. I know that feeling. I hate at night as well. I hate going into the kitchen. I don't know. I don't pull the curtains on. I don't know why. We've got kitchen curtains. We used to have a blind, but it fell off because it broke. But we've got curtains up. I should just pull the curtains, but I don't. I just leave the kitchen. And I hate going in to the kitchen on the night time, obviously the light on, and you can't see outside. You can just see your reflection and like washing up and stuff. I dare look up at my reflection in case there's somebody standing behind me. I know it's silly. It's silly, I know. I'm a silly goose. Anyway, in his new book, Making It So, thanks, Marie. Can't wait for Christmas. Sir Patrick also said he later rented the place to a young couple who told him they had similar eerie experiences hearing mystery voices and footsteps. They added that their daughter also saw a shadowy male figure standing in the hall just at the foot of the stairs. Is that it? Oh, that's it. We're done. We're done. There we go. So Sir Patrick Stewart used to live in a haunted house in Los Angeles, which doesn't, makes it sound not as scary, doesn't it, in Los Angeles? I was thought you were going to say in Yorkshire or whatever, or in England, which is more spooky, isn't it? So I wonder who haunting is. It could be anybody, because people always be murdered out there in Los Angeles. But anyway, that's interesting. I found that interesting. Can't wait to read the book. Got to wait till Christmas and get to that part. Right, let's move on. Got more spooky stuff next, coming up at the end. Right, what's next? A more Patrick Stewart. I can yawn this. Bit of Doctor Who next. With a bit of Sylvester McCoy. Not the most popular Doctor, but Anyway. It became emotional. Seventh Doctor details closure with his companion in Doctor Who episode 33 years later. There we go. There's Sylvester McCoy, the Seventh Doctor. That's Ace. I forgot her name. Sophie Aldred, I think. There's Ace, but I didn't see the Jodie Whittaker. They appeared in the Jodie Whittaker episode, didn't they? And I didn't see it. Right, sorry. Doctor Who's seventh Doctor, Sylvester McCoy, describes his emotional return to the show after initially playing the Time Lord from 1987 to 89. Infamously, I think it was Sylvester McCoy that was the Doctor at the time. Infamously going up against Bertie Bassett. I remember that episode, like an alien or robot or something. I don't know, I can't. But like, looked like it's made out of sweets. It was terrible. It was. But then, curiously, one of the best episodes of Doctor Who in Sylvester McCoy's run was I forgot the name of it now. The Dalek one. Oh, the one at the school that was set at the school and had the Quatermass reference. But which one that one now? Remembrance of the Daleks. That were a good one. I enjoyed that. Right, after initially playing the Time Lord from 1987 to 89, McCoy returned to Doctor Who for 13th Doctor Jodie Whittaker's final episode, Season 13, Episode 9, The Power of the Doctor, alongside his companion Ace, Sophie Aldred. Now out of the Whittaker era, Doctor Who will soon return for its 60th anniversary specials and upcoming Season 14. Speaking with RadioTimes.com, McCoy describes his return to Doctor Who after 33 years. According to the seventh Doctor actor, he said yes immediately and basked in the opportunity to act alongside Whittaker, whom he described as full of bounce and vitality and talent. To do so alongside Aldred was an even bigger honour, which became emotional as he was given fuller closure with his companion than he got in 1989. Check out the full quote from McCoy below. I met Sophie Aldred at a convention once, got her autograph, not for myself, but for my mate, he wanted it. So I got her autograph, and she was lovely. She was really nice. When we were asked to do it, I said yes immediately. I'd come back and do Jodie's last show. I also longed to work with Jodie, who is the most delightful, wonderful lady, joyful, energetic, full of bounce and vitality and talent. All right, sorry. Yeah, I thought we were on about Sophie Aldred then up there, but it's on about Jodie Whittaker, isn't it? Great actress. It was wonderful to do it, and it was great. All of us did it. We eventually got there. It was nicely written, wasn't it? I don't know. I didn't watch it. That was very nice to do. Sophie had the hardest job because she was up a mountain in a cave talking to a brick wall. My life with him up there. She most likely didn't notice the difference between acting with me and talking to this brick wall. Ha ha ha. Anyway, she had to. I bet he's got spoons out there. Anyway, she had to imagine I was there and I was in the studio later. As luck would have it, Sophie was around and she came and fed me the lines. So I had an easier job because I was actually looking into Sophie's eyes while I was acting with her. One became very nostalgic. It became emotional. It was an emotional moment. Yes, it did mean a lot to have closure on the show, to say goodbye to Sophie, really. But we'll still be Ace. That was a good line, that. He's always got to play the spoons on it every convention he goes to. Anyway, tugging at heartstrings through homage is far from a foreign concept in Doctor Who. Even pre-revival, Doctor Who has united Time Lords in specials and guest appearances for decades, including classic specials like the Five Doctors. Don't forget the Three Doctors as well. Way back when, 10 years earlier, technically. And the Day of the Doctor. After the Power of the Doctor, it seems Doctor Who will lean into this nostalgia trip even more by bringing back David Tennant to play an interim 14th Doctor alongside Catherine Tate as Donna Noble. Paying tribute to bygone Doctor Who eras is a great strategy for this era of the revival, as many audiences have felt disillusioned by the Chris Chibnall season's shortcomings. Because they just ruined it, didn't they? They made it, retconned it, so that William Hartnell wasn't the first Doctor. He was the first Doctor. Beyond Tennant and Tate, other returns have been subtly teased or rumoured, including legendary Doctor Who showrunner and writer Stephen Moffat. Oh, that's interesting. While Doctor Who returns are certain, the volume of alumni coming out of the woodwork suggests that the reappearances will not stop at Tate and Tennant. They've got more money now, haven't they? They've got Disney money to throw about. Doctor Who's upcoming episodes will not just be merciless attempts to reclaim an audience of yesteryear. Upcoming 15th Doctor Ncuti Gatwa will become Doctor Who's first Black Doctor, as well as one of the youngest actors to take on the role. Furthermore, Matt Smith, I think Matt Smith was the youngest one. Furthermore, his companion Ruby Sunday will be portrayed by actress Millie Gibson, who, at 18 upon casting, is the youngest companion that Doctor Who has ever had, apart from the kid in the Peter Cushing films, as I've said before. Thus, even as Doctor Who celebrates the old, the show will welcome new voices as well as it enters season 14. There we go. So there we go. As I said, it was fine with Sylvester McCoy. Obviously not the best of the Doctors, but Remembrance of the Daleks is worth it. He gives a good performance in that. And so does she. She does her own stunts, I think. She goes through a window. Right, let's move on. I think back to Patrick Stewart next. More from his memoirs. I'm not going to, I don't have to read it, do I, Marie? Because I'm reading it on these bloody articles. Not that Marie's going to watch this. Right. Patrick Stewart thought he'd never hear of Tom Hardy again after Star Trek role. The actor who portrayed the movie's villain was an odd, solitary young man. He's talking about Nemesis, obviously. Sir Patrick Stewart has revealed that he was surprised Tom Hardy made it big following their collaboration on Star Trek Nemesis. The pair starred together in the 2002 film, a spin-off to The Next Generation, with Stewart playing Captain Jean-Luc Picard and Hardy assuming the role of Shinzon, an exiled Romulan. Have you watched the film? Whoever wrote this? George Lewis, who takes control of the Star Empire. He wasn't a Romulan, he was a human. He was a clone of Picard, who became essentially the leader of the Remans, who were like a lower caste, like a slave race to the Romulans. I suspect, because the Romulans weren't native to Romulus, were they? Because they come from Vulcan at some point, and 2,500 years earlier. So I'm wondering, and I think Remus is like the sister planet to Romulus, isn't it? And obviously the Remans may have come from there, but whatever. That's by the by. But Shinzon ended up, being in charge of the Remans and took control of the Empire. I think after the Dominion War and all that. Right, anyway, whatever. Right, Hardy has since gone on to appear in major franchises such as Batman, because he played Bane, Mad Max, he played, Max. They were pretty good. And Venom. I like the first one. I've never got all the way through the second one. In addition to having big roles in Peaky Blinders, which I've never seen. People say it's great. And Taboo, again, I've never seen it. But anyway. I first saw him, I think the thing I first saw him in, it was either Nemesis, Star Trek Nemesis, or it could have been Band of Brothers. He were in that briefly. Anyway, with Stewart revealing that he was pleasantly surprised by his former co-star's success, and there they are together. I didn't have a single exciting scene to play, and the actor who portrayed the movie's villain didn't have a single exciting scene to play. What's he talking about? I'm sure he's losing his marbles. He had loads of exciting scenes in Star Trek Nemesis. The old Mad Max Dune buggy scene. That was Patrick Stewart's frigging idea. And the actor who portrayed the movie's villain was an odd, solitary young man from London. He wrote in his memoir, Making It So, thanks Marie, via Insider. His name was Tom Hardy. He wouldn't engage with any of us on a social level. Maybe he just wanted to keep a distance because he was a baddie. He never said good morning, never said good night, and spent the hours he wasn't needed on set in his trailer with his girlfriend. He was by no means hostile. It was just challenging to establish any rapport with him because he probably didn't want to. Maybe, the method. Anyway, acting, dear boy. That's Patrick Stewart into his, tread the boards and all that. On the evening he wrapped his role, He characteristically left without ceremony or niceties, simply walking out of the door. As it closed, I said quietly to my co-stars, "There goes someone I think we shall never hear of again." It gives me nothing but pleasure that Tom has proven me so wrong. Stewart recently reprised his role as Picard for the third and final season of Star Trek Picard, though the acting legend revealed that he would love to play the character once more in another feature film. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen. Or maybe, like a TV movie, one for Paramount Plus. And that might be the most you'll get. Sir Pat. I think we could do a Picard-based movie, he said. Not necessarily at all about Picard, but about all of us. Not saying that, though, are you? That's kind of what put me off him. When Picard were announced, he said, it's not about the others. It's about Picard. So he didn't want the other crew to be in it. And essentially, the producers kind of fought to get Riker and Troy in. So he didn't want any of them. It's all about me. That kind of put me off him. And the season 3, Terry Metalis basically had to get him drunk to talk him into, having all the rest of the ensemble from TNG in there. So I've gone off him. Gone off the man. Anyway, and to make many of those wonderful elements, particularly from season 3 of Picard, pardon me, and take out of that what I think could be an extraordinary movie. There we go. Yeah, sorry, Sir Pat, I've gone off you. But I'll read your book at Christmas. Pressing the wrong button. What have I done there? Oh. Did a screen capture. Stop it, pressing the bloody print screen button. I'm stupid. Right. Next up. Nearly done. Right, the Mandalorian concept art shows off full design for a big Star Wars return. And there we go. It's Zeb. Is it Zeb Aurelius or something? From Star Wars Rebels, who appeared in live action in The Mandalorian season 3, didn't he? There's Carson Teever. Right, if there's one thing that The Mandalorian excels at, it's references, Easter eggs, and of course cameos. The Disney Plus original has hosted several guest appearances from beloved Star Wars characters over the years, well, from season 2 onwards. I say, it kind of went mad, didn't it, in season 2, which I liked. I liked season 2, but after that, it kind of went crackers with the cameos and old characters coming back, particularly from the animated series. It kind of shows Dave Filoni, essentially taking over from Jon Favreau, didn't it? Because season 1, well, The Mandalorian, wasn't it? It was, Din Djarin and Grogu, but we didn't even know it was Grogu then. It was Baby Yoda, wasn't it? Going round. We got a hint that Boba Fett were in it, but we didn't know at the time. We didn't know. There were theories that it could be Boba Fett. It turned out to be him, but we didn't know at the time. But I think that was it, wasn't it? I think it was. Anyway. Right, well, season 3, blah, blah, blah. Season 3 delivering one of the most fun. In the episode, Chapter 21, The Pirate, New Republic pilot Carson Teever, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, receives a distress message from Grief Karga Carl Weathers regarding Navarro's pirate invasion. Unsure of what to do, fellow New Republic operative Garazeb Zeb Aurelius, Steve Blum, offers up his 2 cents, prompting him to provide aid. This brief cameo marks Zeb's live-action Star Wars debut after becoming a major player on the Star Wars Rebels animated series. Let's make sure we're still going. I'll make sure we haven't got any messages on any of the other platforms. No, we're still going. We're still fine. Right. I forgot what I want now. Though his scene has him do little more than talk, suffice to say he makes a transition from stylized to realistic animation seamlessly. Yeah, it looks pretty good. A piece of official Mandalorian concept art by artist Aaron McBride drives this home. highlighting the many details and finer design elements of this live action take on Zeb, from his lifelike purple skin, scruffy facial hair, and New Republic flight suit. It's an understatement to say that he looks phenomenal. Are we going to see it? It's not even showing it. Is it on there? If we go there, yes, it is. So I've got to open this in a new link now. So just bear with me. We'll have a look at it now before we continue. Hey. Yes, here we go. Here we go. Get rid of that. Right, this is the concept art. There you go. By Alan McBride. So this is for the Mandalorian. So there we go. So basically, he just painted Zeb, didn't he? Probably digitally, because they do everything digitally these days, don't they? But looks cool. Yeah, basically looks like he does in the series, and he looks like, you know, a more realistic version of what we saw in Rebels. But yes, that's cool. Cool. Fair enough. Where were we? It's undeniably awesome seeing Zeb back in the Star Wars spotlight, though it is a bit strange that he doesn't appear in the project that seemed tailor-made for his presence. Yeah, he wanted in Ahsoka. You know, I thought they've gone to all this trouble creating this CG model of him, and they don't use him again. Maybe they'll use him in something else, Skeleton Crew or whatever, or Mandalorian season 4. It just seems like a bit of a waste, doesn't it? Just to have him appear, just for fans to go. Anyway, after The Mandalorian Season 3 came and went and fans learned about Zeb's exploits post-Star Wars Rebels, it seemed a given that he'd return sooner rather than later. After all, the Lucasfilm team clearly put in a lot of time and effort into creating a CGI Zeb model fit for television. Not to mention at the time, the Disney Plus, not just fit for television, it's got to be fit for, you know, the big screen as well, because essentially it's in 4K, isn't it? Not to mention at the time, the Disney Plus series Ahsoka was on the horizon, which promised to bring back such Rebels favourites as Hera Syndulla, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and her bottom, which I saw a lot of, Sabine Wren, Natasha Liu Boditzo, the Rey of Ahsoka. She just becomes amazing. Ezra Bridger, Iman Esfandi, who rides shotgun. I won't say what Gary from Nerdrotic says. And even Chopper, Dave Filoni. Unfortunately, the minds behind Ahsoka didn't end up reuniting the surviving members of the Ghost crew. Zeb doesn't factor into the show at all, only being mentioned a single time, with a line confirming the Rebel staples' new job. Yeah, I think he said he's off training, Peter, something I can't remember. He said he did. Meanwhile, the likes of Carson Teva, C-3PO, Anthony Daniels, and the spirit of Anakin Skywalker, Hayden Christensen, all get some time to shine in guest spots. If they could all land some scenes, why couldn't a character so closely tied to the main cast like Zeb get one himself? Because Dave Filoni's just a frigging idiot, that's why. Time will tell if we ever get an answer to this question, or where Zeb, plus you know, he's male, or where Zeb will end up next. Because it's a girl, it's, you know, it's star hers, isn't it? You know, it's all we can hope is that the hard work the folks responsible for his Mandalorian cameo put in, from the concept art to the CGI rendering, doesn't go to waste. It might, don't they waste a lot. Don't the Lucasfilm? They're good at wasting money. They are really good at wasting money. But it'd be nice to see him. You'd have thought they would have done. They got him in somehow. Maybe at Hera's trial, he could have come in, speak on her behalf, or even just been there, you know, in the public gallery or whatever, watching in the audience. But they didn't. They didn't. Right. I think that's it now. Have I just done all that and not had it, not had it on? So I just, oh, for Pete's sake! Well, I'm not doing it again. Never mind. Right. Finally. And finally. Shall I play it all? I might just play it all. Because it's Spooktober, I'm doing ghost videos. And steady on. And this last one, it's a clip from the series My Ghost Story, and it's about the Greencastle ghost, which I first saw on, I think, the Scariest Ghost Caught on Tape, which were on the Bravo channel, which I don't think exists anymore over here. But they did a lot of shows like that, didn't they? Back in the day. But they also covered it on My Ghost Story, the Greencastle Mansion Ghost. The Greencastle Mansion doesn't exist anymore. I think it's in Indiana or somewhere like that. It'll tell us here. So I'm just going to play this, what the heck, and I'll mute myself and probably go, ooh, ah, ee, as we listen. It's 7 minutes. If you want to skip it, or shall I just, yeah, no, I'll play it, sod it. No, nothing better to do. So here we go. The Greencastle Mansion Ghost. One of my favourite ghost photos. They might not be real. They could all be fake for all I know, but they're good. I like the look of them. They are spooky. Right, so I'll mute my microphone so there isn't an echo. And off we go. Right. Right, so there you go. So there you go. That was the Greencastle Mansion Ghost. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't really believe a lot of what he's saying, to be honest. I think he's having a bit of a laugh. With some of his conclusions, I mean, that mist that flies by, that could be breath, couldn't it? You know. And it wasn't in night vision, it was just, you know, in the light of the camera. You could tell it wasn't night vision. Anyway, whatever. But the photos are good. They might not be real. I don't know. In the Bravo show, the what they call it, Scariest Ghost Caught on Tape, they actually had somebody do an analysis of one of the photos, and they did, like, you know what they call it, like texturized the image. And when they did that, the face turned into a skull. Ah, they were all scary. That were good. Anyway, right, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. So, wherever you are, don't have nightmares. I said that on my appointment with fear, don't I? Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.